Perfect. I think that's good. Can you give me a thumbs up, Lindsay, if that's good? Awesome. Okay. So welcome to today's presentation. We're going to be talking about the activation company, LifeVantage, and I'm going to be telling you the whole story. And why I'm so excited about this is I feel like when people watch this presentation, they get a grasp on what is the root cause of illness, of all disease. And we have a very powerful answer by activating our miracle body. And I'm going to show you how we do that. And we're going to show you the science that backs it up. And so it's really important to understand there is a massive difference. We're not talking about supplementation here. Supplementation is putting things on the body, adding things to the body that it's missing, right? So you may be adding an iron supplement or outside antioxidants to your body to help you, right? And they're good. We're also not talking about big pharma prescriptions, right? What we are talking about with activation is nutrigenomically activating cellular healing systems in our body with herbs. So nutrigenomic, what that means is it's one word meaning nutra, referring to nutrition, like specific amounts of nutrients and herbal compounds in an exact synergy to activate our genes, to turn on the cellular healing systems in our body, right? And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Now, there's a lot of things that big pharma does, but when they do it, you guys, they do it with synthetics that do a forced process on the body to make something happen, okay? And every time you do that, without any exception, you're going to have a negative side effect. With activation, we are taking God's herbs, God's pharmacy, and using them intelligently in a perfect synergy to also unlock these pathways. And there are no negative side effects ever. Only incredible goodness coming for your body and custom made to each body. So our hashtag is we take it to make it. We take it to make it. So whatever we're putting in our body, we're not taking it so that we get more ashwagandha in our body. We're not taking it so we get more green tea in our body. We're taking it as a synergy to make our antioxidants. So we take our NRF2 activator to make antioxidants. We take our GLP-1 activator to make GLP-1 again. We take our collagen to make collagen again. We take our NRF1 to make mitochondria, right? So it's super powerful. And now I want to kind of talk about where we're finding ourselves today, okay? So if you look around, we have to ask ourselves, why are we feeling so bad? We live in a day and age where we have hospitals everywhere. We can get a prescription at almost every intersection. There's a drugstore. Every supermarket has a place where you can get a prescription filled. We also have supplements galore. Even Walmart has supplements today. Even a CVS has supplements today. We're not in a shortage of having good things for our body. We also have all the healthy things. We have farmers markets and all kinds of things at our fingertips, right? But we have to ask ourselves, why is disease on the rise? And it is. And I don't know if you guys know these stats, but when I give you these stats, you're going to be more aware now of how sick we are. So the stats are 50% of Americans today are either diabetic or pre-diabetic. That's so sad. And like our children, those are children too. 50% of them. 1 in 2 women will get cancer. That is just a statistic now. Another statistic is heart disease is the leading cause of death. We have people dropping every minute of the day from heart disease. We have 1 in 8 couples experience infertility. 54% of our children, this is the future of our country, have a chronic or autoimmune disease already. They're not set up for success, right? And then we have our newest stats on autism, on children within the autistic spectrum, is 1 in 20 boys has autism today. And in California, the number is 1 in 12 boys. So I'm saying this to you to let you know that we're not doing very well. And those stats grow increasingly worse the more time that goes by, even though technology has grown and we have more prescriptions and more medications than ever. We are sicker than ever. And so here, I am here to tell you that we live in a hijacked environment. This is not the environment we were created to live in. So if you look, since the Industrial Revolution, we've had over 80,000 toxic chemicals introduced into society. Just one of those is glyphosate. And we know that that alone wreaks havoc on people's gut, their whole microbiome, and why so many people are gluten intolerant. They're actually not gluten intolerant, they're glyphosate intolerant, and all the crops are sprayed with glyphosate. We have this guy in a whole hazmat suit spraying herbicides on these and pesticides on these plants. When we eat plants and our vegetables, we think we're doing something good for our body, but oftentimes we're putting in more toxins than we are giving nutrients into our body. We have our sad American diet with like lots of sugars and ingredients that we can't even pronounce, right? Just smoking, EMFs, fuel emissions. Nobody's getting rid of their phone anytime soon. You know, we have all these things at our fingertips, but they're actually making us quite sick. And even exercise will harm us, will cause us to be sick. 13 sextillion free radicals are building up in our body daily. And that number, just so you get a visual, is a 13 with 26 zeros behind it. So we are drowning, my friends, in free radicals. Another name for free radicals is oxidative stress. So maybe put it in the comments if you've ever heard of oxidative stress. I had heard of free radical damage, but oxidative stress is a new concept to me when I started this business 6 years ago. So let me dive into what oxidative stress is. It's interchangeable with the word free radical. It's the same thing. And everyone kind of thinks of inflammation as being the root cause of disease. But if you go even deeper, the root cause is oxidative stress. And there are over, let me just explain what that is. So this apple is an example of what oxidative stress is and what it does to us, right? So this apple is cut in half, it's put on the counter. And if we just leave the apple in our atmosphere with all the oxygen, it will oxidize. And so it will start to brown and decay. Now, if you wanted to stop that browning process on an apple because it's oxidizing, you would get an antioxidant. So we're starting to see, okay, oxidative stress is the root cause of disease, and the cure, the answer, is an antioxidant, right? So it's getting quite simple. There are over 200 diseases that are linked to oxidative stress. If we go to PubMed.gov, the National Database for Scientific and Medical Research, what is oxidative stress, or how does it feel like in the body? Before it ever becomes a disease, before we're ever diagnosed with anything, we just start to have low energy, mood swings, depression, anxiety, anger bloats, maybe being bipolar, maybe having brain fog, maybe we're getting sick often, maybe it's something like headaches. All of those things are things brewing inside of you that will eventually become a disease. So if you go to PubMed.gov, we love to send people here because we don't want you to just rely on what Andrea has to say or anyone else who is sharing this message. We always go back to the science. And so we really encourage everyone to go to PubMed.gov. It's the national database for all scientific and medical research. And if you go there and type in oxidative stress, you will see that is literally linked. Every single disease is linked back to oxidative stress. So back in 2012, just to give you an example of where the research is going, there were 100,000 studies on oxidative stress linking it back to disease. 6 months ago, there were 318,000 studies. And today we have 364,000 studies and counting, linking oxidative stress to virtually everything that can go wrong in the body. And so whatever you're dealing with, just type in, that issue and oxidative stress and watch all those studies pop up, showing you that the root cause of the disease maybe you're dealing with is grounded in oxidative stress. And so what I want to explain to you here is, while all these diseases seem like they're so unrelated and not connected, each one of us are unique and we have our own genetic makeup. And so our body will express a disease in our own way, right? So if my body is overwhelmed with oxidative stress, it could manifest in fertility. Well, for another person, it could manifest in their brain and look like Alzheimer's or Parkinson's. For another one, it could manifest in their kidney, right? It can manifest in the blood vessels and look like atherosclerosis. It could be in the eyes and become macular degeneration. It can express itself in the heart, and it could look like, heart failure. So it's so interesting, but are you starting to see like this is a lot more simple than we ever thought it was, and maybe a little less scary. And so I love pointing out this doctor. If you guys have not read this book, it's called Good Energy, and it's by Dr. Casey Means. And she kind of went viral when she was interviewed by by Tucker Carlson, right? And this is an excerpt from her book. Well, let me go back a little bit. She is a surgeon. She's a specialized surgeon that operates in a very tiny nasal passageway of the body. And this is a truth seeker who really wants to get to the root cause and really wants to help people, and became a doctor and a specialized surgeon to help people. But what she ended up finding was that the people who she was doing surgery on were just going to come again for this routine surgery in another 5 years when the issue came back, that they were seeing a specialist for the heart disease, another specialist for their blood pressure, another specialist for skin disorder, right? And we're on a ton of prescriptions for their diabetes. So she started to go back and decide and really go on a mission to find the root cause. She actually walked away from her medical career to go find the truth. And in her book, she says, what if depression, anxiety, infertility, insomnia, heart disease, erectile dysfunction, Alzheimer's are all related? And it's amazing. Like, even when I say it today in one breath like that, all these diseases that are so incredibly different have the same root cause. And she says in her book, the truth is they do. And our ability to prevent and reverse these conditions and feel incredible now is easier than we think. It's all about our cellular healing systems, how our mitochondria works, how our metabolic health is, right? How much oxidative stress we have in our body. And I love it. But even though all these doctors today are really pointing towards the root cause of disease, which is incredible, nobody has the answer. Still, they're still recommending a supplement or very basic things, right? Or diet changes. But that's not enough given the hijacked environment we live in. So what I love, and this is where I'm going to introduce the activation company. We have been saying this, you guys, since 2005. We are pioneers in this space, and we did not start out in network marketing. We started out as a small biotech company with an incredible medical breakthrough. They developed Protandim NRF2, which activated the NRF2 pathway in the body. It was instrumental. It's the masterful healing system in the body, and it's combined of herbs that work in a synergy to activate this pathway. When this pathway is activated, we increase our glutathione by 300%. But they found that it reduced oxidative stress in everyone. And they did a clinical study. This is a clinical study. It reduced oxidative stress in everyone by an average of 40% in just 30 days. So when they made this claim and they published this study, ABC did an investigative report on it. Now, when ABC back in the day did an investigative report, it was a very scary thing because it did not end well for the person they were investigating. They go in there to expose them. This was not meant to, promote them in any way, shape, or form. They went in there to do some real, really good television. And so John Quinones goes into this small biotech lab with Dr. Joe McCord, who later won the Nobel Crescent Prize for his movements in the science field, which is a prestigious award that Henry Ford won, like really, really prestigious. So John Quinones goes in there, has his starts taking this NRF2 activator, this herbal pill, once a day, has his blood markers checked on day 1, and then on day 14. He only gave it 14 days. And in 14 days on national television, when he drew his blood, his oxidative stress levels were reduced by 45% in 2 weeks. It was incredible. And Dr. Joe McCord says in that video, which you can all see today, you can all reach out to the person who invited you to tonight's call. And Dr. Joe McCord looks at the reporter and says, these are the blood markers, the levels of oxidative stress we would expect to see in a newborn baby before they ever were exposed to the toxins in our environment. And John Quinones is still in this product today. And you can see, like, it's just visible when someone is activated, the anti-aging effects of it. But what they found in that study, they had, that prompted the research, was that it didn't matter. Everyone in the study, whether they were ages 20 to 80, they could not tell the difference in the blood of the 20-year-old to the 80-year-old if they had all been activated on NRF2. I recently saw articles, and they're starting to appear more and more and more, that the root cause of disease is in our blood. Sick blood, impure blood makes a sick body. And what I find so fascinating about activating the NRF2 pathway is it makes our blood so pure, right? It reduces it to that of a newborn child. And so, again, we were not in network marketing. We did not have the infrastructure to get this product out to the world. And so when that ABC investigative report aired, they really missed that opportunity. But all these institutions on this page saw that report, and they were just beginning to really understand back then in 2005 to 2007, 2010, 2012, how significant oxidative stress is. So the American Heart Association took this little herbal pill, did a study, and posted it on PubMed.gov. And their findings are phenomenal. They're incredible. Johns Hopkins studied this natural pill. This has nothing to do with the activation company. They did this with their own money. And this is millions of dollars of research. So Harvard has studied it, Ohio State, the National Institute of Health, the Institute of Aging did a study and said that this is the only natural product proven to extend life by 7%. All of these are phenomenal. They're on multiple sclerosis, cancer, and a whole bunch of other things that they were connecting back to oxidative stress. So it's really phenomenal. And, I want to go back here, and this may not mean anything to people on this call. And you don't have to remember this, but the reason I share all this is because this is very important to people who are cellular and molecular biologists and people who really understand what we're talking about at even deeper levels than I do. They look at these studies and they find them absolutely profound. So for a natural product to be shared on PubMed.gov and researched and validated is nearly impossible to find. If you have 2 studies, it is a unicorn, meaning it does not exist, right? This Protandim NRF2 has 28 independent peer-reviewed studies published on PubMed.gov. So I'm saying all this to just impress upon you how it works. And there's something quite significant about it that all these institutions would spend so much money researching them. And so what is it? Like, what is this pill and why is it doing this? And so what we like to tell people is this is not a miracle pill, right? We're not pushing a miracle pill. What it does do is it activates the miracle pathway, the miracle body that God designed. And we're using God's pharmacy intelligently in a synergy to unlock these pathways. And so it's just these 5 simple herbs. And I have worked with so many people over the years who have been so chronically ill, and they are holistically minded and taking all of these herbs. And they'll tell me that will not work for me because I take all of those. And you would be surprised. I'll just say, just take it. This is not a supplement. This is an activator. They're actually very low dosages in a perfect synergy to unlock that pathway. And surprisingly, or not surprisingly, because I know what this can do, they have remarkable, remarkable stories. And so I have so many of those stories. Also, something I'd like to point out here, sometimes people can't take those individual ingredients, so they're allergic to them, or maybe green tea will give them heart palpitations, or they're allergic to ashwagandha. I have always, in the last 6 years, said, try taking a little bit, because now your NRF2 pathway is activated, and that thing is so powerful that you will no longer have a problem with ashwagandha. You will no longer have a problem with the green tea. And 10 times out of 10, I've been correct. Like, it's just that when that pathway is working properly, it's phenomenal what it can do. And so the things you can expect if you activate the NRF2 pathway is an increase of glutathione by 300%, an increase of catalase by 40%, and an increase of SOD by 30%. Those are antioxidants that our body makes. And I'm going to show you in the next couple slides why that's so important, okay? So remember the apple, when I showed you the apple, and I showed you that if you squeeze lemon on the apple, that was the cure. That was going to stop the apple from oxidizing. So now we know that the cure to the oxidative stress is the antioxidant. Well, that's why we put supplements in our body. That's why we take high dose vitamin C. They'd even take IV vitamin C just to get a super, super intensely high dose of antioxidants into the body, right? But those are exogenous antioxidants. An exogenous antioxidant means it comes from outside of our body, and it fights the oxidative stress, the free radical damage, 1 to 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 1, right? That just doesn't cut it, because remember, we have 13 sextillion free radicals building up in our body daily. And so our visual here is just this guy throwing, like, picture that being the supplement, right? He's throwing little bucketfuls of water at the fire, trying to put it out. And all of us are looking at him like, buddy, just let it go, because it's not going to do anything. If you look at the other slide, those are our endogenous antioxidants. Our body makes antioxidants, and they're a million times more powerful than the exogenous antioxidants. And they fight the free radical damage 1,000,000 to 1 every second of the day, 60 minutes an hour, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. It's so powerful. So our example here for our visual is like, now we're calling in the fire department. It's powerful, right? Those hoses are very powerful, but not just are the hoses powerful, they are intelligently going to the source of the fire and going there first and putting it out, right? So this guy who's throwing the cupfuls of water at the house fire, he doesn't know where that fire is coming from. He's just throwing it. The firemen, they look at the house and they're like, that fire is coming from the chimney. That fire is coming from the kitchen. That fire is coming from the fan in the upstairs window. And they go right to the source and they put it out with their powerful hoses. And that is our example of how NRF2 works in the body. So if you want to put out the disease in your body, this is seriously the most powerful thing. One of the studies says NRF2 may well become the most extraordinary therapeutic and preventative medical breakthrough in history of medicine. This is not our company saying this. These are incredible studies. And there are drugs out there trying to activate that pathway. And all of those drugs, one of them is $50,000 a year. It has to be prescribed for multiple sclerosis, okay? And it's $50,000 a year. I already said that, sorry. So that company took our little yellow pill just to compare the two in a study. And they found that this little yellow pill was 2.5 times more effective at healing multiple sclerosis. It's $50 a bottle versus $50,000 a year. And there were no negative side effects with Protandim NRF2, our little herbal NRF2 activator. It is so powerful, my friends, because it's turning on the healing system of the body, but it is not forcing the process. This is a system that should be working all the time, but is shut off because of our hijacked environment. So I'm going to just continue this presentation and talk about 5 more incredible activators. These are incredible tools. I have them all in my home. I feel completely empowered having this in my home for prevention and just for if anything happens to my family. I just know this is the best like line of defense. The way I treat healing in our family is activation first. We stay activated. And then if I need targeted supplements from time to time, we will do that here and there and sprinkle it in. But literally, it's just turning on our bodies to do what God designed them to do. And so I'm going to talk about 5 other activators that are super powerful because we didn't stop at just NRF2. We continued to pioneer the science of nutrigenomics, right? Of turning on our powerful healing systems in our body. And I love this quote from Dr. Brimhall. He says, we are no longer working with symptoms, but we're working on the systems and switching them on with nutrigenomics. So what I love about this is it takes away the guessing game. So a lot of doctors, they will, you know, whether they're functional or holistic or, you know, they're allopathic, conventional, they'll all look at the symptoms and then either prescribe you a drug or a whole list of supplements to take, right? We're kind of bypassing all of that. And we're just like, hey, why don't we just turn the body back on to do its thing, to make its own antioxidants and to make its own mitochondria and to make its own GLP-1 and get it working again, right? So the NRF2 is what the one we talked about. That's the first line of defense. So if you can just do one thing and you could just afford one thing to have the biggest impact on your health and longevity and vitality, and for prevention and for therapy, is the NRF2 activator. If you want to go now layer it and combat more and start really winning in your health, you would add our second activator, which is NRF1. And NRF1, it activates the mitochondria of the body. So think about NRF2 as like being the defense. It's stopping, you know, them from scoring points. But now the NRF1 is out there scoring points for you against the other team, right? And then we have NAD. NAD is a mega buzzword. And if you guys have heard about it and you're like, oh, I understand I need to get NAD in my life, do not get a supplement. They're really throwing away your money or paying for expensive pee. And maybe they move the needle a little bit in that they're activating your sirtuins. They're not that effective. There are high dose NAD infusions that people get, and they're very expensive, and you can get a 2-hour drip, a 4-hour drip, or a 6-hour drip, but it will still not be as effective as getting your body to make the NAD, to make the sirtuins. And so ours increases the sirtuins by 100% in 24 hours. And what I love about everything we have is we have got the science to back it up, and everything is patented, meaning that there is a study, a clinical study, proving that it does what it says it's going to do. And the patent is there to prove it, right? So we can't just blow smoke. We have to have the science. So I love giving this to people because I know it works 100% of the time in 100% of people. It just does. And one thing I want to say before I go to the next slide is all of our products work in a synergy. So you can get them individually, or we have targeted health solutions in bundles. And these three come in a bundle, and we call it our tri-synergizer. And you guys, this tri-synergizer, I've seen it work the most profound things. I've seen it take away a mango-sized tumor in a friend of mine in just 4 months. It is powerful, and yet I take it every day just for prevention. And I say that this makes my 40-year-old body, my husband's 50-year-old body feel like we're 20. We love this product, how it makes our mind feel, our body feel, the focus, and literally we never get sick. So these are visuals for what NRF1 is doing in our body. That's the mitochondria. It's building up the mitochondria. So picture now, like, we're not just detoxing the body, we are building a new body. We're rebuilding our kidney. We're rebuilding our heart. We're rebuilding our blood vessels, right? So that visual is of, that house renovation. So you don't want to take the mitochondria without also pairing it with the NRF2. And the reason is just like how whenever there's a house renovation, and it's a perfect example, because you all know that we don't magically get a brand new kitchen. There's going to be a little bit of chaos as you're cooking in the living room or eating out, and they're moving ovens in and out and painting. There's going to be some debris. That also happens when your body is building a new body. And so you need to pair it with the NRF2 so that takes out the trash. So those two together are called a dual synergizer, and they're amazing together. They really are the 1-2 punch that really get to the root cause of what's going on in your body. And then if you add the NAD, that's just getting rid of everything that is no longer serving your body for cell autophagy. And so just picture it getting rid of everything that no longer serves your body. The fourth activator I want to talk about is MindBody, our GLP-1 system. So remember, like, big pharma is doing these things because they are trying to mimic the GLP-1. So they've created these very harmful drugs that have become very, very, very popular on the market. And there's a host of negative side effects that come with them. But there's also natural doctors who will prescribe it because we are in an epidemic of disease, and obesity is on the rise, and people who are even doing good things with their health are just hijacked, and they cannot lose this weight, or they're putting on weight rapidly and can't get a hold of it. So even holistic people will promote these injectables. But what our company did, and those drugs, they were originally for diabetes, right? But then people started to use them for weight loss. And so it's become very, very popular. So what our company did is they said, well, GLP-1 is a hormone that the body makes, and we are the activation company. So we turn the body back on to do its miracle thing. So can we not nutrigenomically turn this hormone back on in the body in a very holistic and very natural way to solve the root cause of disease that is causing so much harm to so much of society today? And so they went about developing our MindBody GLP-1 system. Now you'll see other GLP-1s out there, but they are supplements. They're supplementing the body. Our GLP-1 is an activator. So it's turning on the body to make GLP-1 again. And it's not just activating it in the body, but it also comes as a 2-part system. So you have your pills that you take first thing in the morning, like before you eat anything, half an hour before you eat anything. That's the first thing you put in your body. And that will start activating the GLP-1. Then you take this delicious drink, our enhanced drink, and that feeds the receptors for GLP-1, because we have GLP-1 receptors all over our body and all the different organs. And so it works like a 2-part system to activate GLP-1. So we activate GLP-1, you guys, by 200%. The closest thing I've seen in the market is about 50 to 60%. So this is phenomenal. It's extremely powerful. And it's so much more than weight loss, right? We didn't do this for weight loss, even though that's something that really bothers people. Usually it's the thing that bothers us the most. A lot of people aren't thinking about cancer brewing in their body or anything else. Until it becomes a problem, we don't think about it. But our weight is something that we look in the mirror and we get frustrated. We see our rolls, we see the weight gain, we don't feel like ourselves, right? So this has become very popular, but where we really want to educate people is this is not just weight loss. This is incredibly healing to the rest of the body and to all these different organs in the body. And I just listened to a study where they were talking about GLP-1 being a solution against Alzheimer's disease. Like it is so healing to the brain and all these areas of the body and the GI tract and really, and you know, all these things on the side. It helps with insulin secretion. It slows digestion. It suppresses our appetite. It supports our cardiovascular system and is very neuroprotective for our brain, right? And again, it's naturally occurring and we're just turning it back on. And where we really want to educate people is we don't want this to be a toxic yo-yo dieting thing. Okay. We want to educate people to take back control of their life and eat again for pleasure and also to support their body, to eat the things that their body is wanting. And what I love about this system is it is so powerfully healing to the gut-brain axis. And so you will start to realize that your food noise is decreased, meaning that all the food noise we have that we're constantly thinking about food 24/7 and then feeling guilty over food choices we may have made or binge eating at night, or you guys know how it is, right? When you are activated with this, you are like, I don't need that. That doesn't serve my body. That doesn't sound like a good decision. I think I'll have the chicken over the ice cream. Like it's so much easier to make these good decisions. So once you get that GLP-1 pathway activated, I would say run with it and start making those good habits become habits that you can carry with you for the rest of your life. So when you do order this, we do have a whole education sheet on how to eat properly, how to focus on proteins, and just really helpful things like to remind us to move our body, right? To get in tune with our body and serve our body so that our body can serve us. And I love these pictures because sometimes you won't see weight loss, but you will see body transformation like never before. You'll see redistribution of weight in a much healthier way. You'll see the visceral fat go away. We have all the science is actually on the website. I don't have it here. All the science is on the website. So visceral fat, the average visceral fat is gone down by 27% when you activate our GLP-1 pathway. The average weight loss is like 9 pounds in 8 weeks and 24 pounds at the 16-week mark. So it's super incredible to watch this. And then we just did a challenge. If you reach out to the consultant who invited you to this presentation, they can share a QR code that shows you all these incredible before and after pictures. But you will see a lot of the weight loss is in the waist. That's where we hold a lot of toxicity and the visceral fat that eventually causes disease and heart attacks. That's like the first thing to go when you activate that GLP-1 pathway. So if you get activated, I highly encourage you to take measurements and to take before and after pictures so that you're not frustrated with the scale. Because one thing that we've learned too is that 140 pounds of fat looks a whole lot different than 140 pounds of muscle, right? It's just redistributed in a completely different way. And so we really want to encourage everyone to stay on the system for a minimum of 13 weeks. Why? Because it is not a overnight fix. We have to rebuild your microbiome. We have to reset everything. We have to build that gut-brain connection. We have to build a better balance in the body. And finally, by week 9 to 13, your body is optimized and is able to really fully take advantage of the GLP-1. And that's why we see more dramatic weight loss in that last 4-week period. So remember how I said that all of our products have a synergy together? These do too. And so they're just activating more fat and fatty acid pathways. They're activating 22 more genes to support our organs and repair our body. So it's again, masterfully healing. You can really see incredible results. And then I want to talk about our collagen. This is our 5th activator. And this collagen is not like anything you've ever thought of before. Like you will think of collagen in a totally different light when you learn about activated liquid collagen. So it is an activator. That's why it's different than everything else. And when you look at these before and after pictures, it's like, I've never seen another collagen do anything close to this. I mean, if you look at Betty's pictures, this is an 11-month difference. So this is 90 days. This is 5 months. This is 11 months. But you'll see it continues to compound in her month after month after month. But if that's happening on the outside, I assure you that what's happening on the inside is even more exciting. Believe it or not, it's even more exciting what is happening on the inside of the body. And so I like to say a beautiful body, a healthy body is a beautiful body. We look more beautiful and vibrant when we're healthy. And this is a friend who was on Modere collagen for 2 years before she switched to activated liquid collagen. And in 1 month, she had her transformation. And these pictures are just incredible. And so what really sets us apart is we activate the collagen. So we're turning on our body to make it, right? And then we have an aspect to it where we replenish, we supplement. So we supplement with a marine-based collagen because that's the most potent and powerful collagen that there is on the market. And we use tilapia. Now, tilapia fish, people will say, that's not a good fish. It's not. The meat of the fish is not. The miracle of the tilapia, because everyone has their X factor, is in the scales. And the collagen comes from the scale of the fish. So they get the scale and they use it from the tilapia and another fish called I forget what it is, but another fish. And it's because they have the highest amount of collagen peptide types in that supplement. So it's super good. And then the maintenance is adding antioxidants into the mix. So it tastes delicious, but it's also maintaining the collagen that we're making. So really what the miracle with this collagen is that it also activates those antioxidants. Remember we spoke about antioxidants that the body makes? It activates SOD. That's the super antioxidant. That's the one that gobbles up free radicals in the body like a Pac-Man. It activates it 2,700%. So it is phenomenal. I have seen it change people's lives with Parkinson's. There's a video with a guy with horrible Parkinson's, and he gets on the collagen, the NRF2, and a probiotic. And in 4 months, he goes from shaking almost uncontrollably that it's so painful to watch him to running. It is a phenomenal video to watch. I shared a story recently on my Facebook page about how our dogs, we gave them this collagen, and our dog went from dying of parvo, like literally limp and unresponsive, to coming back to life about 6 hours after giving it collagen. It was like a phenomenal turnaround. So we continued to give them collagen. And now all 3 of our puppies survived parvo without any medical intervention. And when I looked at the stats and the mathematics for how like, what is the probability that that would happen? It is less than 1% chance that all 3 puppies would live and survive and thrive after having parvo. So it is powerful. It is incredible. And this is our friend Jenny, and this is her 30-day before and after picture with the collagen. You also see people's eyes pop out. Like it's incredible. And if this intrigues you, just know that we have product education groups, and the consultant who invited you here can add you to those product education groups where you're going to learn so much more about the collagen, about the GLP-1, about the NRF2, about the tri-synergizer. But just like how we said, everything we have has a synergy. When you pair this collagen with NRF2, it has a synergy, and it is pretty profound. And it's also on our website. And what they found is that these two together take the body out of the autoimmune response, that fight or flight response. When the signals in the body get mixed up and start attacking themselves and send the wrong signals, when you take these two, it tells your body, it signals to your body, it's okay, Andrea, you're not in harm. Stop attacking yourself and reset. And that's what the body does. And it is mega incredible. And if you know anyone with an autoimmune disease or Lyme disease or anything like that, this is so incredible at resetting the body. And the last thing I want to talk about is Axio. So Axio is a nootropic drink. I really don't think of this as like something I take, for a supplement. It's just something I take daily instead of an energy drink or instead of a coffee, right? It's my mom drink. It's my focus drink. It gives you focus, clarity, stamina, concentration, and there's no crash or jitters. It's extremely healthy for you. And you can see a difference on a brain map. So we work with people who work in with autistic children. They work in brain mapping. They work in rehabilitation centers, and they love these products, and they see a difference on their brain map. And it is incredible. And we have so many chiropractors who have joined forces with us because this one doctor, Dr. Brett Brimhall, had been working on his nephew for years trying to get a breakthrough, and they could not. And when they introduced NRF2 and Axio, they had the biggest breakthrough. And we continue to have story after story after story with children on the spectrum, children who are inaudible speaking again. Really incredible tear-jerking stories, especially from parents. And those stories are all in our education group. So go look through those and just be inspired. And this is just a sample of a handwriting of a child who was 9 years old, and what his handwriting looked like before without NRF2 and Axio, and then after what it looked like when he had just been activated with NRF2 and Axio. So you just see like a focus, a concentration. His writing is more like in line, it's tighter. It's pretty phenomenal. Like I love this drink. And for those of us who are moms, we call it our mom drink. And it's also good to help like break any addictions that people might have. Now, if you go to the website, there are what I call supporting actors, and they are targeted health solutions. Like, for example, our AM and PM is to our special nutrients and minerals designed to help support the circadian rhythm. So there's an AM and a PM. It's phenomenal. Like you get a really deep REM sleep with that. Daily wellness is I use this in the wintertime with my kids. Even though we chase summer in our RV life, the sun is not shining as strongly in the winter months, and we need that vitamin D. And when our health is affected, and I love listening to Dr. Pompa on this, because if you listen to Dr. Pompa, he really understands nutrigenomics, and he educates his audience that people are told to take vitamin D, they're told to take zinc. And so they're putting it on their body, but he's like, if you're not taking the right amounts, one is negating another. They're actually becoming harmful, or they're working in a synergy that is actually terrible for your body, right? But people are just taking it. This is already intelligently put together in a bioavailable way for your body so that your body uses it perfectly in that moment to help your body. So we call it our daily wellness. We have a skincare system, and that skincare system developed organically because one of the studies on NRF2, you guys, it was from LSU, and they did it on melanoma skin cancer. And the findings of activating the NRF2 pathway with melanoma skin cancer were so profound that they said, you've got to create a skincare line that's NRF2 activated. And that's what they did. And so I just wanted to close out here. If you are thinking about getting the GLP-1, and the reason I kind of highlight this is that's the one that usually people want really badly. If that is something you are curious about or wanting to order, just know that we have something called the MindBody Promise, which is if you are not happy after being on the MindBody and NRF2 bundle for 3 months, and you take it consecutively, and you just tell our company, I'm not thrilled, for whatever reason, they will send you our Healthy Glow Stack, which is the amazing collagen and NRF2 for free. They'll send it to you for free. And that's worth $200. Like, that's how confident we are in what we have our hands on with activation. So definitely take advantage of that.